Yeah, Rivian, so I'm gonna react to the wrestling Degenerates 3. I already watched one or two of these series about top 10 wrestling, so I'm gonna say why not give this a reaction. So yeah.
The last edition of the Wrestling Degenerates, I discussed Velveteen Dream, a WWE main event star in the making who threw it all away in some Instagram DMs. We discussed Michael Elgin, one of the most accomplished and best unsigned wrestlers out there, who managed to blackball himself from pretty much every promotion and also shoplifted some protein.
And Michael Elgin was a really like good ass wrestler, bro.
Powder. And we discussed Chase and Rant, a convicted pedophile who still wrestles and trains young
I don't know who this nigga is.
wrestlers to this day. Welcome to the third installment of the Wrestling Degenerates. Today we're going to be discussing three wrestlers who have all gained distinct reputations for various reasons. Like and subscribe and leave a comment down below saying who you want me to talk about next, and let's begin. Travis Banks is a Kiwi professional wrestler who debuted in 2009.
He used to wrestle in WWE too.
Banks spent the first few years of his wrestling career wrestling across New Zealand promotions, mainly New Zealand Wide Pro Wrestling and Impact Pro Wrestling. In 2012, Travis would get a big opportunity as he was booked to wrestle in Japan for 0-1, and this would change the tide for his wrestling career as he would begin getting booked in America. However, he would never debut for anywhere major in America before moving back to New Zealand. In 2016, though, Travis, presumably seeking something new in his wrestling career, moved to the United Kingdom, and this was the career reinvention that Travis really needed. Banks would wrestle for numerous promotions for the next few years in the UK, most notably ICW, Southside, Progress, RevPro, TNT, and of course, What Culture Pro Wrestling / Defiant Wrestling, which is the promotion that I found out about Travis Banks through. And while I never became one, Travis Banks had many fans in the British scene and was one of the bigger names in the BritRes community, holding titles in many promotions and often being the guy that promotions trusted to work with foreign talent. In 2018, he was in the prime of his career. He was the holder of the Progress World title and the Defiant Internet title at the same time, and after being a stalwart of the UK indie scene, he was given his big break as he was signed by the WWE to be on their NXT UK brand.
That's how I first discovered him in the WWE. That's how I first discovered.
Travis got some decent exposure from being in the WWE, occasionally being flown to the US to do NXT house shows, and he even competed for the Cruiserweight title at World Collide 2020. But it was also in 2020 that Banks' time in WWE and on the British wrestling scene would come to a screeching halt. During the Speaking Out movement in June 2020, British wrestler Millie McKenzie came forward accusing Travis Banks of emotionally abusing her whilst they were in a secret relationship while she was just 17, providing screenshots showing some disturbing messages from Travis. Travis Banks responded with the following.
17, that's OD.
Millie was a trainee of mine at Fight Club Pro. She was also a close personal friend. We would be at shows together, attend the same social events, travel together, and hang out at the wrestler's house where I was living. It was through this friendship a consensual relationship was formed. The relationship broke down between both parties and it ended. After it ended, we agreed to talk it out. We apologized to each other for any individual actions behind the relationship breakdown. After seeing these comments, I can only repeat my apology. I am truly sorry for any pain caused by the relationship. Travis was released from the WWE shortly thereafter, and this is another moment where this should be the end of our story, but it isn't. Travis Banks still wrestles. For the last year or so, he's been hiding in the underground scene in Mexico, wrestling for underground promotions in there, wrestling the likes of Marty Scurll and Alberto Del Rio. I'm seeing a pattern there. And hey, speaking of Alberto Del Rio, Alberto Del Rio debuted on the WWE SmackDown brand in 2010. He was 10 years deep into his career and had wrestled for AAA, CMLL, and had a short run in WWE's developmental territory, Florida Championship Wrestling. Alberto Del Rio was pushed heavily, very quickly into his WWE career.
That's a fact, bro. And Dario wasn't a bad wrestler. I ain't gonna lie, he wasn't a bad wrestler.
with him beating Rey Mysterio in his first feud in the company and having a world title match at TLC 2010, only 6 months after his debut. And while he was unsuccessful in winning that match, he would be successful in winning the 2011 40-man Royal Rumble match, guaranteeing him a title shot at WrestleMania. One that he would unfortunately lose, but it seems that WWE wasn't done pushing him, as he would win that year's Raw Money in the Bank briefcase, which he would successfully and infamously cash in on CM Punk to win the WWE title at that year's SummerSlam. That summer was obviously very turbulent for the WWE title scene, and nobody really wanted to see Alberto as champion, but his push would continue for the next few years with a couple of reigns of the World Heavyweight Championship in the next couple of years, until 2014, when out of nowhere, Del Rio was released from his WWE contract for unprofessional conduct. Allegedly, Del Rio had slapped a worker who made a racist joke to him. Del Rio would return to the WWE a year later, winning the US title on his first match back, and during this run, Del Rio would get into a relationship with fellow WWE wrestler Paige, and this is where everything went off the rails. The two got together in May 2016 and were engaged by October of that same year. But also by that point, Del Rio was out of the WWE again and had nuclear heat with the company, as well as Paige's family, who did not support her being engaged to him. And it all came to a head after an incident between the two at an airport in 2017. Reports came out that the two had a domestic dispute, and an investigation was ongoing, stemming from a domestic violence battery incident at Orlando Airport. And audio of the incident was leaked. In said audio, you can hear Del Rio threatening to call the police on Paige, and Paige telling him to leave her the fuck alone and get out of her life. The investigation was eventually concluded with no charges being brought about, and the couple split up that same year. Now gone from the WWE, Del Rio has not managed to stay out of trouble. In 2020, Del Rio
been fucking up, man. Del Rio been fucking up, bro.
Arrested after allegedly battering and sexually assaulting his girlfriend, and in October of that same year, he was formally charged with aggravated kidnapping and sexual assault. The trial kept on getting delayed and delayed until December 2021, when the charges were all eventually dropped. Nowadays, Del Rio mainly wrestles in Mexico, having been blackballed from every major promotion in America, wrestling with his friends and people I mentioned before, Travis Banks and Marty Scurll, the latter being a name for another video to discuss. And he will never ever return to the WWE, despite how many times he has tried to convince us that he is.
Lars
Sullivan was signed to the WWE in 2014 as a Performance Center recruit, and after 3 years...
All that shit is quiet, bro. That's quiet for Dario to ever come to WWE or any major major wrestling company like AEW or even Impact, bro. Like,
training would debut on the WWE NXT brand in 2017. He started to receive a monster push immediately, often winning in handicap matches, and was beating some of NXT's biggest stars very quickly into his WWE career. Most notably, at NXT TakeOver New Orleans 2018, he took part in the North American title ladder match won by Adam Cole, a match that was given 5 stars by Meltzer.
And that match was a fire, bro. The match was OD fire, bro. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, bro. It's really classic, bro.
If you care about that stuff. Meaning Lars Sullivan and Jack Swagger have more 5-star matches than Kurt Angle. It's just wrong, isn't it? It's just...
Yeah, bro, that don't make no sense. Kurt Angle should at least have like 6 5-star matches, bro.
wrong. He would wrestle his final NXT match challenging Aleister Black for the world title at June 2018's TakeOver Chicago event, suffering his first pinfall loss in the company, and in November of that year, vignettes would begin airing teasing his main roster debut. He was set to make his debut in January and was apparently being set up to face John Cena at that year's WrestleMania. However, his main roster debut had to be delayed due to him having a panic attack backstage. He would finally make his debut in April, and his main roster run and monster push would finally begin. But it would also start crashing and burning before it even got really started, as in May 2020, Lars Sullivan's old posts on bodybuilding.com were exposed, many of which were labeled as racist, sexist, and homophobic, and many posts were targeted at WWE employees, some that were still employed by the company and that he was working with, including Stephanie McMahon. Lars Sullivan had nuclear heat backstage following this and had to apologise to the locker room for these posts, but that wasn't stopping WWE from continuing their push with him, as they kept pushing him until he got injured, leaving him out of action for about a year and a half. It's all going from bad to worse for Lars Sullivan. He returned in October 2020 for 2 matches, but 3 months later it was reported that he had quietly been released from the company. While he was injured though, it was found out that he had starred in a gay pornography, despite the fact that he had had homophobic past comments in the past, and also at the end of his WWE career, he was exposed for sending inappropriate DMs to a woman. Yeah, the guy did a lot. Before and during his WWE career, he was exposed for a lot. And that right there wraps up another edition of the Wrestling Degenerates. My next video is going to be a video not on the Wrestling Degenerates, so finally we're getting a quick break from that.
Okay, that's the vid. So yeah, let me know what y'all think of this video, man. Like these wrestlers on this like list, they're not really bad wrestlers. They're not bad wrestlers. They're not terrible wrestlers, but they do stupid shit and they be fucking themselves over, bro. Like they do just dumb shit just to fuck up their career, bro. That shit, they don't think. So yeah, bro, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. Whoever you're checking out, you are.